too many affiliates are like, we help everyone. Oh, yes, we understand CrossFit is for everyone.
So this is an interesting discussion. It is not for everyone. Anybody can do CrossFit, but it is not for everyone. It is, and I don't know if you remember this. Like Nicole Carroll and I had we didn't have a disagreement, but like
on the podcast.
Yeah, but we disagreed on the podcast about that when we interviewed her at the games a couple years.
Yeah.
She's like, no, it's for everybody, and I said, well, no, it is by its very definition exclusive. I don't mean exclusive like, hey, you're not cool. It's exclusive in the sense that if you don't like to try hard,
right, it's high intensity,
or if you are not interested in being in a group setting, then this is probably not for you.
Which, by the way, is both of those are real.
Correct, right? So, and again, it's just understanding that, and it's not a bad thing. I would argue when CrossFit was at its peak, they deselected better than anybody, right? Like that was the whole classic deselection. Whether done purposely or not is irrelevant, but it is one of the more beautiful expressions of deselection from a marketing standpoint. Was our warm-up is your warm-up is your workout.
We're saying, hey, we're going to work really hard here.
Really hard. Immediately you have deselected a huge segment of people.
And we've all had people that have come in and been like, oh, this is not for me. Well, and it's
now, is that good or bad? Does that need to evolve over time? Yes. Can you do that more effectively and less effectively? Absolutely. Well, but it doesn't take away the point that deselection and understanding how you win is a core component of doing fucking anything.
Well, it's niching down too,
right?
And to your point of all of this is solved with developing coaches, because I don't know about you, but I was very dogmatic in my CrossFit approach, right? Like you're talking about 2007, 2008, it's like, oh, there is no going. What do you mean you're going easy? Like we're doing Fran.
Yeah.
Like you need to sell
I'm going to
out.
need you to light yourself on fire.
Yeah. So now when you develop a staff that has empathy and understanding and asks questions, and you're like, hey, Fern, you're tired.
Right.
How about you just come in and use 75 and we do jumping pull-ups, or you go slower, like understanding that. Now you are taking something and you can expand the demographic there, because there is a potential to go a little easier. And your gym should have that. Your gym should have some people that...
Well, again, going back to some of the frameworks, there's a difference between knowing something, knowing what it means, and knowing what to do about it. There's a difference between knowing that CrossFit, by definition, is constantly varied function movements executed high intensity, versus knowing that high intensity does not mean maximal intensity, nor does it mean high intensity every single day, because that would violate, by its very definition, the variance component of that. So just walking through that simple thought allows your coaches to have a broader view on how to approach any given training day for an athlete, which is like, okay, and again, this is not mine. This is Pat Sherwood doing what Pat Sherwood does, which is like taking complex things and saying them eloquently, which is like, well, if there's a high intensity, then it's safe to say that there's a medium and there's a low. So let's just break this out and say that mathematically at this point, that high intensity would be 66.6% or higher, which doesn't really sound that high. If that was your starting point for high intensity, by definition, if it's a high, medium, and low equal thirds, that means that high is 66.6 and above.
And which also does not mean maximum. Which
Correct. Maximum is like is the very last.
It's like point. My speaker goes to 11.
Yeah, and then it blows
that's
up.
The max.
Yeah. So I think that's a classic example of knowing something, but not necessarily knowing what it means. When you watch somebody execute it, the kind of like the early days version, which is every day is max intensity, and we're just going to go until somebody throws up or we tear a hand or something. And listen, I'm not going to say that was all bad, but like it's definitely not sustainable.
It brings me back to your point about hugging the cactus, though. Like, had we not done that, does CrossFit I remember seeing Coach Glassman.
But learn the lesson once.
Sure. No, we were back in the day. Glassman would travel around, and I remember he would do like these Q&As, and someone asked, he's like, "How come you always put the best people on CrossFit.com?" Like at the time, I remember it was like Spieler and even Pat Sherwood, and he's like, as soon as I put Richard Simmons on there, I'm not getting people above him, right? But if I put Spieler, and it's changed. Remember the period of time they were like in the living room, right?
The blue jugs.
Right, but I do think that was vital at the beginning. Like, we're the crazy people in fitness, and we drew those people in, and now we can start to trickle down to the everyday people. But if we would have said, hey, this is for everyone and your mom can do it on day one, it never would have.
It wouldn't have taken off.
Correct.
Yeah, if you didn't start at the pointy end of the spear, it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, it's like anything, like it's like social media these days. You need to be.
Yeah, if I'm trying to cut through an industry that is as massive as fitness, if you think about it, like a blunt instrument is probably not the best tool, right? I'm probably going to want a scalpel. And that ultimately is what CrossFit was, because they took something that was niche and they took the human beings that were on the far end of the spectrum and they used them as the example, at which point it stuck out immediately. It immediately was intriguing. It immediately was a conversation starter. It immediately broke the mold of many ideas that we have now come to realize were not accurate to begin with. Now, were there bumps along the way? For sure, but the point still stands that is like CrossFit is not for everybody. Anybody can do it. Going back to, I think this is kind of the language they're using now, which is like for the willing. I agree with that.